Dear students, friends, yesterday you have heard about the environment and its importance to all of us. In short, environment means all that is surrounding us, living and non-living things. So nature is a big surrounding, so also are all the human beings, living animals, which form a very important aspect of our life known as environment. After getting a clue of this particular environment, we go further now. How this particular environment changed from 1950 onwards in our country is a problem worth watching. This is because of the fact that a life and lifestyle before 1950 was very simple in our region and in our state also. We had scarcity of water at that time also. And I remember to have carried water in the bucket from a long distance. Water was available at that time in wells and lakes, and we used to fetch water from the various lakes and wells situated almost 1 or 2 miles away from us. Similarly, the quality of food mostly was jowar or milo and a very small part of wheat. Rice was not abundant, so also sugar was not abundant. Lifestyle was very easy, life was very calm. Radios were not very common, and TV was yet to come after 20 years. So we used to see or hear the commentary of cricket by going to our friend who had a radio at that particular time. Everybody used to get up during the sunrise, and the day started at sunrise and went up to sunset. Electricity was not common, and the place in which I was living was deprived of electricity, and we used to burn candles and lamps to study in the evenings. So during the evenings, the meals used to be taken around 7 p.m. After that, a small amount of study, and then everybody used to go to sleep at 8 o'clock. Newspapers not very common, though they were very cheap at the time, but very few people were subscribing for it. So in my house, since we were taking one newspaper, so many neighbors used to come and read these ones. Then slowly around 1960, radios entered in our life. The technological progress went slowly with us, and this technological progress was felt in the form of electricity first. The coming of electricity in our houses revolutionized our social structure. We used to get let up, or we used to get away in the evenings up to 10 o'clock, and now we started purchasing radios. So we used to hear radio news around 9 p.m. But still life was not very fast, because scooters were not abundant. In fact, they were yet to arrive on the roads. The roads were not also very plain and clean. Everybody used to go on cycle, and we used to go to our colleges and schools on bicycles. In schools we used to go barefooted, and in colleges we used to go with chappals. The pant and shirt or the clothes that we used to wear were very simple, and we used to have only 2 pairs to be used during one full week. What I am emphasizing all this is, lifestyle was very slow, So social structure were such that people were living together. The cow's milk was available, buffalo's milk was available, and it used to be received at home, brought by a person who used to keep cows with her. This particular lifestyle went up to 1970. And from 1970 made a very small change. And the change came in the format. Newspapers now were very more common. Radios were almost occupying every house. And TV arrived very slowly. In the beginning it was black and white. The schools and colleges changed. And overall actually affluence started entering in our life. From 1980 onwards, because of the overall change in economy and the impact of technology on our society, we changed very fast. The scooters were available on the roads and were being used by people who used to earn sufficiently well in their lives. Migration of people from villages to cities started in. The milk was available now from dairies. Life was very smooth, and we used to have now shirt and pant, but completely ironed every time. Festivals were common, and we used to assemble in somebody's house to celebrate Diwali or Dasara festivals. That means the capable nature of the society formation and its impact on our individual environment was very common. And that was felt by all of us because we had mostly brotherly relations with all the people who were surrounding us then. Then from 1990, TV entered in our life and it made a tremendous change. And the tremendous was in fact because of the fact that initially the channels shown by TV were not many, but from 2000 onwards there were several channels and the TV got colored. So actually number of times the family members were glued to the TV and children used to watch TV like anything. The TV has completely overruled our life, and our environment has therefore encompassed one, you can say, gadgetry or a machine which can be called our television. So television is a big environment now with us. This has completely changed our lifestyles so that everybody now is awake up to 11 o'clock in the evening watching TVs. The TV actually gives good performance on so many aspects of life. It is always blessings for the old people. It is always blessings for the solitary persons, or it is always blessing for the patients in the hospitals. So in that sense, this particular machine has completely gave us advantage. But fastidious nature of our human beings have glued us to the TV, and our social structure has completely changed. When we take food in the evenings, what is known as dinner, all of us are mostly watching TV with attention and not keeping attention on the food. So the gossiping, the laughter, the happiness that one used to enjoy during dinner time in the olden days is completely or partially absent in almost all of our houses. Talking with our parents, talking with our children has reduced tremendously, with the result that we are mostly watching TVs in the evenings. What I want to emphasize by this particular vision is that TV has completely changed our life, so also our life has been changed by the transport mechanism, because every house now has got a TV and a scooter, and a few of the houses have got cars. So every college boy now has a scooter or a scooty, and he has got a tendency to go to the college or everywhere in the market by going or watching TV, by going on a scooter. This has definitely made people lethargic, though they feel that they have become active and they are saving time. But every now and then, using machine has made most of the young people rather dull in their activities. So also what has happened in the last 15-20 years is our tremendous affinity for fast food. This fast food has completely taken the children by surprise, and most of the children are eating the fast food during breakfast time or lunch break during schools. What has changed therefore is the healthy and peaceful life, the absence of exercises in the morning has made people obese. The obesity therefore is amply visible because of the change in our environment or our habit of taking food. Just watch a very simple thing. Previously we used to use cotton in our clothes. Similarly used to take cotton bags for our market. Malls were absent, vegetables were available with vendors, and these vegetable vendors were available in plenty very close to us. We used to go to them with a bag of cotton and purchase vegetables or groceries and bring them at home. You will not believe, but there was a green mill also, and we have to grind our corn, that is wheat and jawar, every week and bring it at our house in the form of a powder. Nowadays everything is available in the mall and market, with the result that people purchase them and they use it abundantly, with the result that our lifestyle has completely got changed. So the environment factor has revolutionized our society, and this particular revolution has brought a pressure on us. As I have told you very well, that there was a paucity of water in India because the resources were very limited. Believe me, wells were there, but the water in the wells used to go down, and we used to fetch water in a bucket from well almost 30 to 50 feet below. Considering the sources therefore in nature, there are two types of sources. One are called natural resources, another is called unnatural resources. The natural resources are like water and wood. The unnatural resources are like minerals and oil. The natural resources can be reused. They can be obtained again and again. But unnatural resources, though they are available in nature, they are not sustainable. Minerals and oils you can get or extract from the mineral ores, but their lifetime, once that we use those minerals, they will be completely consumed. Such is not the case with water. Such is not the case with wood. So you have to see the impact of these two things one by one. The positive of water, as we know very well, is very common in India. This is because of the fact that we get rainwater only during monsoon for 4 months. And the water therefore is insufficient with us because we do not have any procedure or mechanism by which we collect and store water. Every city or every village used to have a small lake, but that lake was insufficient. The store of water was limited, therefore we used to get insufficient water even from January onwards. The dearth of water enhanced after March, and during May and June it was very difficult times as regards water. One more picture was there, that water therefore was not clean, was not healthy, and the first shower of rain used to bring number of diseases with us because the water was not clean. You have to see details about water pollution by industry detail in later on. But we have to first see that water pollution that is occurring because of the insufficiency of water and unclean water that we get has completely affected our health. The coming up of diseases like malaria or jaundice or typhoid because the low quality of water that we used. We used to have very burden because some 20-25 years there were not medicine available to cure these diseases, and there were rampant diseases in cities and villages resulting in deaths. Similarly, one very important cause which has affected our children as they were very old, young, that was called as infant mortality and deaths of children during childbirth. All their remedies or all their diseases were completely remedied. They are medically treated now, and there is nothing like infant mortality or childbirth. The rate has completely gone down. So the use of modern medicine and modern technology has completely revolutionized our childbirth rate, and we have got now healthy children starting from children because they have got medicines and they are free from this type of diseases. These diseases therefore enhanced our lifestyle, but the paucity of water still remains. And this paucity of water is because of the fact that not only in our country, which is a very developing country, but throughout the world water is limited. The amount of water that is in total on this earth is 79% of water is almost blocked in seas. Remaining of that is 21% water you can call as fresh water. Out of that, I'll just repeat it. "79% of water is blocked in seas. Only 21% of water is used or for us as fresh water. Out of that, even a large amount is blocked in Arctic region and Antarctic region in the form of snow. So the actual quality of available water is only 0.3%. This particularly is a very bigger amount of water available to us. The sea has got abundant water, but that water is salty. We cannot use it for drinking purposes or even for our growing of vegetation. The water that is present in Arctic and Antarctic region cannot be brought back in the form of fresh water to various regions in all this earth. And there are two distinct types of countries on this earth. One where the water is not, you cannot say water is not sufficient. And countries like India where there is water insufficiency or paucity or scarcity. In European countries like America or Canada or Germany, they have got one great advantage, that rainwater is very common there because rain almost is common throughout the year. That is why everything looks green there, and water is available in that sense plenty. In our region, because of the scorching heat of summer, only monsoon water is available to us, which comes after the arrival of the scorching weather, but this monsoon actually goes only for 4 months. Its intensity is only in the beginning of July and August, and later on it dwindles. The monsoon rain is not uniform in our country. Starting with south and going up to north, we know that there is a limitation of monsoon, and there are always various regions where monsoon is not sufficient. To take an example of Maharashtra, we have got monsoon water in Konkan, and this Konkan is full of waters, it's full of lakes. But we have no water coming sufficiently from monsoon in Marathwada or Vidarbha region. That is why there is a lack of water, not only in the month of May and June, there is a lack of water during July and August also. You will not believe it, but water is so poor, the quantity available is so less that we have to collect water from various sources. The World Health Organization has said that every person generally should get 50 liters of water per day. 50 liters generally means almost 5 full buckets. These particular full buckets are not at all available for us. Even those who are living in cities, maybe maximum they may be getting 2 or 3 buckets. In the villages or regions which are drought-full regions, people get only 1 bucket at a time. So water is supplied to the tankers. This water therefore supply is not regular at all. And we have to wait for the arrival of tankers in order to get water. Friends, the scarcity of water is so common and so ghastly thing in our region that we have to take utmost care of water. There are regions in Marathwada where water actually comes through taps almost once a week, or somewhere water actually comes after 3 weeks. So you have to collect water even for drinking purposes in big drums. So there is no fresh water supply, and this is because of the fact that we do not have a resource which can give us full water. This is very common. So as regards water, there are 2 types of things. There are rich countries who have got abundant or sufficient water, and there are poor countries like us or developing countries like us which have got insufficient water. Below that level, we have got regions where water actually is so poor that we do not have any access to them. So the question that comes is, how can you reuse water? How can you use it again and again? The first thing that is coming to us is that we must preserve water. How to preserve water is, first we should not waste water. Wasting water means, in our household, if you feel that water is being wasted in this particular act, you should be very careful in not doing so. In our book, they have given us activities for water understanding the phenomena, and they said locate actually the presence of water in your house and then go back actually and find out from where water is available. As somebody has very rightly said, Principal Dole from Nanded College, from College of Maharashtra Udayagiri College, Udgir, has written a very nice book in which he has suggested that whenever a guest arrives with you and you give a water in a glass which they have got just to make our life or our country self-sufficient in water. And this self-sufficiency can be brought only by two things: by connecting rivers from north to south, or by collecting rainwater and not allowing it to waste. Water is also useful in agriculture. Insufficiency of water dries up the fields and the production of corn is therefore reduced, making the life of villagers a miserable one. To stop this, new ideas are coming up, and one of the ideas is having a small lake in every or very close to every field. This particular practice of storing water during monsoon season has to be cultivated amongst us. We should have agricultural lakes very close to our villages, very close to our fields, and this particular water can therefore be used for agricultural crops. Similarly, we can get water through various river banks, and the water flowing out should be completely stopped. Our old practice of taking buffaloes in the rivers and cleaning them is also to be stopped. That means we have to forego our old habits, cultivate new habits, taking care that every small drop of water is very important, and we will take every small care to get water potable. Chemically, water is potable if it is clean, tasteless, odorless, and bacteria free. Because if bacteria are there in water, it leads to so many diseases, and these diseases therefore are definitely harmful to our human life. This particular question is coupled to some other aspect also. And the some other aspect is, we have during the last 25 to 30 years, a common factor of an increased population in our country. The increased population in our country can be understood by a very simple table, and this particular table will tell us how the population increase has taken place. Watch this table very carefully. Our population in 1891 was 23 crores. In 1941 it went to 31 crore when there was no partition. Means India and Pakistan till Balochistan was one country. In 1991, when India was separate, the population was 84 crores of India only. And in 2005, the population has gone to 110 crores. The increase in population, therefore, puts a pressure on our various resources, and this particular affects the overall richness of the country. The population increase, if it is to be stopped, then we have to take several steps for it. If the rate of increase is 2.4% per year, then the time required for doubling the population will be 29 years, and the population of this country will double to 2035 AD. If the rate is 2, the population will double in 2041, and if the rate is 1.5, the population will be 2052, meaning thereby our population has to be controlled, and this particular control is possible by successful handling of the program of family planning. Another point is there which is also to be considered. Because of very good medical facilities, and there are so many people who are above 70 or 80, with the result that the range of human population in this particular country has gone up. This is a big asset to our country, and they say that our country is important because we have got young population. We have got a large number of people who are between 20 and 30 years old. This region of years is called young population. So we have to take all the precaution, but the population level has to be adjusted because the resources with us are limited, and if you want to have a healthy life for every individual, then these resources are to be used very carefully. To satisfy hunger of this population, we have to do it by getting good crops. Getting good crops, good vegetables, good food, all these are prerequisites for a healthy life. Especially getting good fruits is very important. All these particular vegetation will be green and abundantly available if we control our population, manipulate our resources regarding water, and one more point is to be manipulated, and that is wood. Our forests are to be manipulated. In our natural resources, we have taken two examples. One is water, other is wood. Wood can be renewed. You can plant a tree and wood can be obtained. But the time period is not the same as you have plucked it from the soil. A good people tree or a sag tree to grow up to almost 20 feet does require 15 years, while you can pluck it in few hours only. We should have a very good forest, because forest is a part of nature, and forest actually obliges us on so many aspects. A good forest brings good rain. A good forest stops soil erosion. A good forest stops cyclones. And the dust actually which flows is completely stopped at the root of the tree. So keeping forest intact is very important thing. Unfortunately, we have not paid much attention to it. We have got forested region only in small places. And in a country like ours, only 11% of our land is forest. In Canada, forest is very, very common, and they have got abundant forest. This abundant forest therefore brings greenery, and this green greenery makes the country beautiful. What happened was, in our countries, the forest lost its so importance because people were living very close to the forest, use forest as their timbers. They used to get wood, burn it in their houses, or burn them to a large extent to form coal. The coal is though available in coal mines, coal also can be obtained by burning wood or timber. And around 1950 to 1960 onwards, I remember that most of our houses, we used to have kitchens with chula, and in our chula we used to burn only timber. At that time, nobody thought about pollution. Nobody thought what danger we are creating in the forest. And I remember vividly that my mother used to sit in the kitchen. The wood used to be wet. There was a lot of smoke and a lot of carbon monoxide, and she has to inhale, and all these gases used to enter in our eyes. So continuously it was tears through her eyes, and so all the mothers who were cooking food. Fortunately for us, technology has helped. We got some comfortable life in the form of gases, and gas we are getting in form of cylinders. The gas comes through the cylinder automatically by just moving one valve, and gives a very non-luminous flame. The flame, non-smoky flame. The flame is not smoky. One more point, actually technology has helped in our kitchen. Previously we used to have aluminum utensils, now we have got stainless steel utensils. So all these things definitely have given comfort to our life, and especially comforts to our life, comfort to our mothers. Two things which are given comfort to our mothers. One is gas, and secondly is pressure cooker. Pressure cooker absence was seen by my generation. And we remember that to cook rice for 5 people, it used to take half an hour. And so much so that we have to keep attention every hour or every minute. Nowadays with a pressure cooker, the mother can put pressure cooker on the gas stove and do her work independently. The rice will cook by itself in almost 7 to 8 minutes. This has changed our lifestyle. It has given ample time to the mothers. It has given some pleasure in the kitchen. But now it has brought burden to us. Now see the difficulty or see the dichotomy or climax in this. The cylinders are common, but everybody doesn't get the cylinder at proper time whenever he wants. There is a dearth of cylinder because the human population has increased tremendously. Since the population has increased, the demand has increased, and since the demand has increased, the cylinders have become insufficient. In villages, such a facility is not available. So timber is brought from the forest. They go to the forest, bring some dry wood to burn it in chula. This particular limits the forest. In forest, some of the area is given for cutting purposes, for building purposes, to contractors. And a large amount of wood is there for cutting. So we have got ample wood nowadays being used in our houses. How the wood has completely changed the structure in our house. The decoration of a drawing room by wood is now a fashion itself, and that is costing us a lot. So what we have to emphasize on one particular point, and I am appealing to all the students to think independently, because there are so many activities given in this book. When you read these activities, think independently and try to collect or suggest some remedies to prevent the loss of wood and how to preserve water. Wood therefore is very, very important. Water is very, very important. If the stock is consumed in another 50 years, especially of wood, and suppose gas is not available to us, then we will be in dire difficulty. People who are in youth nowadays now must understand the importance of safe living for their children, their grandchildren, and the great-great-grandchildren. Please remember that these resources are not for our generation only. To quote a very simple story, an old man was planting a tree of mango right in front of his house. The passerby said, "You are planting a tree, but how can you eat the fruits because you are too old?" He laughed and said, "I am not planting these trees or trees for other fruits also for myself. I am planting the tree for my grandchildren." So the resources that we have got are to be checked. And if they want or you want that your children, grandchildren must live happy, then you must do something in order to protect the resources, in order to protect the resources intact. Obviously you will require to use them, but your use should be limited. or you should devise something different to get the resources. And here I am appealing again to all the students to think independently. How to get water in abundance. There was a scheme of connecting rivers from the north to south. We are building big dams. We are building big lakes nowadays. Ultimately, our aim is to preserve every drop of water. This particular spirit, every student has to imbibe. And unless and until we have got abundant supply of water, we should not rest. But believe me, whatever you do, the supply is bound to be limited. So you will have to live in limited supply. Now this limited supply will reduce greenery right in front of your house, in your villages, in your cities. And nature is very beautiful. Nature is very magnificent. Nature is very kind-hearted. It gives different fruits in different seasons. It means that it keeps variety intact. The variety is the only thing that actually brings us interest in our life. That is why we have got festivals and we have got fruits. Before Vasant or Chaitra Maas, all the trees look barren and there are no leaves on the branches. But suddenly in the Vasant Ritu, the tree gets green. The green therefore is very beautiful and is appealing color to our eyes. That is why nature is very beautiful. We are not to appreciate only the beauty of nature. We have to see that we cultivate it, we maintain it, and we see that nature remains intact. This is called as aesthetics of nature or aesthetics of environment. This is also given in your book. This part you can read very well from your book, but I can tell you another aspect of aesthetics. The famous poet Wordsworth has written a very good poem and which is popular. Daffodils are the flowers which grow up in Europe and Germany, and the miles after miles there are the daffodil flowers. Wordsworth has written, I wander lonely as a cloud when I saw a host of golden daffodils. Means the flowers of daffodils were like gold to him, so much preciousness. If you see the flowers miles after miles of rose flowers, daffodils or any other beautiful flower, your eyes will get a tremendous pleasure, and this pleasure will give you mental satisfaction. The trees therefore have got aesthetic sense, and mountains, big rivers are therefore very important because they will bring us pleasure in our life. In Marathi, we know the very famous poetry, Hirve Hirve Gara Galiche, Harita Turancha Naukanche. Means the green galicha or green leaves actually in the field are like big carpets. Nature therefore is abundant And this abundance of nature gives us not only the pleasure in our eyes, it gives us mental satisfaction. One very big quality of nature is, nature not only is beautiful, it is magnificent. The mountains that you feel, they are not symmetrical. Symmetry is a property devised by human beings. As somebody has said very rightly, that clouds are not spheres. They are not spherical. They have got haphazard nature of formation. But still, when you look to the black clouds, you enjoy the pleasure. When you look to the mountains are not conical. But still you enjoy them. Because the beauty of nature lies in its magnificence. The greatness of nature lies in its size. The size itself is very, very important. And the size has got a tremendous impact on it. If you watch the flow of water of river Ganges in Haridwar or Rishikesh, you will find that the river's flow is so fast. The tides coming are so fast that you will simply watch it and get pleasure and immensely watch it hours after hours. Even if when you watch high tides coming in seas, you will get pleasure. Meaning thereby that nature by its very action has been made as an environment to please human beings. And therefore, we in our country have always loved nature and have worshipped it. Our worship is because of the fact that nature is our friend, the earth is our mother, and we must take the maximum precaution.